Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. You want to take a nap? Yeah, do you want to take a nap? Uh-huh. Oh, you want a nap? Hi. Hey, everybody. It's time for nap, right? Time for a nap. Time for a nap. Time for a nap for this baby girl. Yeah. Time for you to sleep, sweet girl. I know you're frustrated. I know. But it's time to sleep anyway. Hey, guys. Morning. Oh, yay, Susan, we're happy to have you back. Hopefully you've been able to catch up on the chapters either way. Stitches? What? I don't know what that means. It sounds bad. That sounds like surgery. 60,000 seems like too many stitches. Don't you usually just get a couple stitches when something goes wrong? Oh, cross stitches. I was like, oh, I walked into the wrong part of this conversation. Clearly. Wow. It sounds like a beautiful thing. I always wanted to learn cross stitch. I'm good, Isabella. How are you? I mean, actually, the truth is I'm the most tired. Sleep was not a thing for me last night, so I am an incredible amount of tired, but I'm getting through. I don't know what's a lot for Victoria. That's a great question. I had a good day. That's exciting. What'd you do? Anything fun? Yeah, it's nap time. It's nap time for us. It's nap time for us. Nap, nap, nap. Nap, nap, nappy nap. We need nap time. Yes, we do. We need nap time. Yes, we do. I went for coffee and I walked down this little river thing. That's so sweet. I love that. That's fantastic. I was texting my baby brother, who, as you all know, is a full adult, this morning because he is having a baby soon, and one of my favorite baby wearing brands is having a sale today, so I wanted to let him and his wife know if they were looking to get something, they should, get it while it's on sale. With tiny 18 stitch count. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Oof, oof, oof. Oof, oof, oof. We're dancing. We're dancing. Back kids fighting during book club. Oh no, we don't fight during book club. No. Almost any other time, but never during book club. Today we have somebody's 3-month appointment, so we get to find out how much baby girl has grown today. Today is she's exactly 3 months today, you guys. 3 months, ooh, I have to remember to take her 3-month pictures. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to do that. I'm gonna have to put her in something cute later and put her on the little thing with the numbers and all that stuff. She's exactly 3 months today. You used your non-stretcher. Oh, send pictures, will you, Victoria? Will you send pictures in the Patreon chat so that I can see what kind you have? What color is it? Tell me everything. Did you see what I said? You know what, Isabella? Last night was a really hard night for somebody, so we were not doing DMs. Usually, I try to catch up on DMs in the middle of the night while she's sleeping, but we had a bit of a struggle getting to bed last night, so I am woefully behind on everything. But I will check as soon as I have a free moment. I was 2 weeks late with my little 10 months picture. That's funny. Yeah, we had a little bit of a hard time getting to sleep last night. And then she finally did. It's a Moby Blackheart, but it's way thicker than I'm used to, so I was scared. I can't wait to see it. I literally love this kind of stuff, Victoria. Please. I'm like, this is my current obsession. I'm like literally obsessed with this kind of stuff, so please share. Oh, no, you don't want to kick yourself out, do you? No, no, don't kick yourself out. No, we do not hate you, Isabella. Don't hate that. Okay. Please don't kick yourself out of the rap. You know what I do hate? I do hate lack of sleep. What's your favorite baby rap? Okay, so that's such a difficult question. I mean, it's a great question, but like the problem for me is that I use them all in different situations. You know what I mean? So like I can't say I have one favorite. I promise, Isabella, we will let you know, but it's not gonna happen. There's no way we're gonna be bothered. We're all just gonna be chill. You need to get one. Well, first of all, can you tell me what size your baby is and what you plan to use the wrap for? One to wear at home. Okay, to wear at home, will you be working while you do it? Why is no one buying tickets? That's a great question. I do not know, Brian. 10 weeks, okay, itty bitty, great. But probably just growing out of the size where a stretchy wrap is worth it, because those, they grow out at that point. Will you be working or doing housework while you're wearing them is my next question. And pause, because I'm gonna go put these back, but I'll be right back to answer. Okay, I'm back. Like when I say housework, I mean like heavy housework, like light housework and heavy, you know what I mean? There's like a difference between like folding laundry and like scrubbing the floor. Don't scrub the floor holding the baby, but you know what I'm saying. I love patterns, I do. Even though my Lark carrier is just pink. It's just pink, just plain old pink. No pattern at all. That's the one I went with, yeah. But it does have those suck pads. Housework and computer work, okay. So I would say explore, you know what? Do you have a meetup, like a baby wearing meetup in your area? Because they often have lending libraries where they can let you try different things on. I would say try on a ring sling and a woven wrap. The reason I say those two things is because, so like you guys see me every single day I wear this ring sling. I wear this ring sling so much. It is my favorite thing. This is like, we do this all the time. You know what I mean? Every morning she and I wear this ring sling. But because it rests on this shoulder, I can't make slime very well doing it because it's unbalanced, right? Between the two sides. Again, I love my ring sling, but the woven wraps that Ray gave me are actually the most useful for work because they put an even amount of pressure on all the parts of my shoulders and my back when I wear her with those, and I can do anything with her in that because I wrap her, and then I also have the little thing where I can make a little thing to make sure her head is supported. You know how you guys have seen me do that little, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but if you do, you'll see that I post pictures of me with that. And we'll see, the thing with the structured carriers is like, I feel she doesn't nap as well in a structured carrier. And if you're wearing it at home, you probably want her to contact nap her, or actually, I don't know if your baby's a girl or boy. But like she naps so well in a woven wrap. I can put her in it and within 2 to 3 minutes max, out for 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like that's just her thing. See, if you had said you were going to wear it outside the house, then I would have said, yes, get a structured wrap, or I mean a structured carrier. What a great idea. Thank you so much. Yeah, of course. Feel free if you haven't to follow me on Instagram because I often link things there. But like Roxy and Ray have said, definitely check out a lending library in your area so that you can try them on. Because I'm not even going to lie to you guys, I probably would not have bought my husband bought it for me for Mother's Day, but I probably would not have gotten, no, ours does not have a lending library, but I'm gonna get one of those, Ray. So actually, Ray, I've been looking into those, but the thing is, the sale that Hope and Plum is having today, and I want to get one of theirs of that, doesn't have any Mendies in it. So I'm waiting until they make some more of those in pretty patterns, because I don't want to get another plain colored one because I have the lark in a plain color. If anyone needs a carrier, I've got one. I can send it to semi. Oh, see, there you go. Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, put that up on Patreon for someone to grab. But I do want one, right? I actually looked this morning specifically for that because I was like, Ray knows, she knows me. She said that I will like this one. I'm going to go buy one. And then I looked at the patterns that they had and I was like, but I'm not buying it today because I don't want these patterns. But they have new patterns coming out this summer. So I think I'm going to grab one of those. Okay, so before we get started, I have to wake Secret Husband up by 9:15. So if I am sitting here and it is 9:15 and you do not see me getting up, ooh, cinnamon bun iced latte. Wow, that sounds amazing. If you see me sitting here and it's 9:15 and I don't get up to go wake him up, will someone just poke me and be like, hey, go wake up Secret Husband? Because he wants to have coffee before we go to someone's appointment. I will probably remember because I'm pretty good at stuff like that, but just in case I don't see the clock, where's the clock? Right there. Okay, there's the clock. All right, so let's get digital. And by digital, I mean the exact opposite of digital because I'm reading a physical book. Oh, we're asleep. Oh, good. Oh, good. We're asleep. I think she probably fell asleep around 8:40. Okay, we'll see you later. It looks like an 8:40 nap time. 8:42. Perfect. I will mark that when I get off of here. All right. So we are on chapter 20, page 280. Chapter 20, page 280. PETA! I screamed, shaking him harder, even resorting to slapping his face, but it's no use. His heart has failed. I'm slapping emptiness. PETA! Finnick props Mags up against a tree and pushes me out of the way. No, let me. His fingers touch points at PETA's neck and run over the bones in his ribs and spine, and then he pinches PETA's nostrils. No! I yell, hurling myself at Finnick, for surely he intends to make sure that PETA's dead, to keep any hope of life from returning to him. But Finnick's hand comes up and hits me so hard, so squarely in the chest, that I go flying back into a nearby tree trunk. I'm stunned for a moment by the pain, by trying to regain my wind, and as I see Finnick close off PETA's nose again. From where I sit, I pull up an arrow, whip the notch into place, and I'm about to let it fly when I'm stopped by the sight of Finnick kissing PETA? And it's so bizarre, even for Finnick, that I stay with my hand. No, he's not kissing him. He's got PETA's nose blocked off, but his mouth tilted open, and he's blowing air into his lungs. I can see this. I can actually see PETA's chest rising and falling, and then Finnick unzips the top of PETA's jumpsuit and begins to pump over the spot on his heart with the heels of his hands. And now that I've gotten through my shock, I understand what he's trying to do. Yes, it's page 280. 280. This is where I stopped reading. Oh, good. I'm glad you caught up. Yes. So I think this is pretty funny, right? Because he's obviously doing CPR, but because he lives in an area that, well, no, think about it, Victoria. So she lives in a place where they don't really have water, right? And he lives in a place where it's all ocean and lakes and stuff like that. So he's a swimmer and he knows CPR, and she lives in like forest, and they just didn't bother teaching them because why? You know what I mean? It kind of makes sense when you think about it. Yeah. We all in our life, like, we learn it either way because we know that there's other uses for it, but I get what she's trying to say here, like, as an author, you know? Anyway, let's keep going. Oh, it's weird to me too. Yeah, that's why he was surprised she could swim, because he didn't know that there was even a lake there, but that's because it's outside of District 12, outside the gate. All right, here we go. Once in a blue moon, I've seen my mother try to do something similar, but really not often. If your heart fails in District 12, it's unlikely that your family could get you to my mother in time anyway. So her usual patients are burned or wounded or ill or, well, starving, of course. But Finnick's world is different. Whatever he's doing, he's done it before. There's a very set rhythm and method, and I find the arrow tip sinking to the ground as I lean in to watch, desperately for some sign of success. Agonizing minutes drag past as my hope diminishes, and around the time that I'm deciding it's too late, that of course PETA is gone, moved on, unreachable forever, he finally gives a small cough, and Finnick sets back.
I leave my weapons in the dirt and I fling myself at him. Peeta, I say softly, and I brush the damp strands of hair from his forehead, and I find the pulse drumming again, my fingers at his neck. His lashes flutter open and his eyes meet mine. Careful, he says weakly. There's a force field up there. I laugh, but there are tears running down my cheeks. Yeah, it must be a lot stronger than the one at the training center roof, he says. I'm all right, though. I'm just a little shaken. Hey, Brittany, we barely just started. We're 1 page in. You were dead. Your heart stopped. I burst out before really considering if this is a good idea, and I clap my hands over my mouth because I'm starting to make those awful choking sounds that happen when I sob. Well, it did seem to be working now, he says. It's all right, Katniss. And I nod my head, but the sounds aren't stopping. Hey, Katniss. Now Peeta's worried about me, which adds to the insanity of all of it. It's okay. It's just her hormones, says Finnick. From the baby. I look up and I see him sitting back on his knees, still panting a bit from the climb and the heat and the effort of bringing Peeta back from the dead. No, it's not. But I get out just those words, and I'm cut off by an even more hysterical round of sobbing that seems to only confirm what Finnick has said about the baby. He meets my eyes and I glare at him through my tears. It's stupid, I know, that his effort makes me so vexed. All I wanted was to keep Peeta alive, and I couldn't, but Finnick could, and I should be nothing but grateful, and of course I am, but I'm also furious because it means that I'll never stop owing Finnick Odair, ever. So how can I end him in his sleep now? Oh, Isabella, did you miss yesterday? In case anyone missed yesterday, Peeta got up on the stage for the interview and told the world that Katniss was pregnant. She's not really, but I think he was doing it to try to, stick it to them. But it's not true. We as the audience know it's not true, but the Panem audience thinks it is true. So that's interesting, right? I suspect to see a smug or sarcastic expression on his face, but his look is strangely quizzical. He glances between Peeta and me as if trying to figure something out, and then he gives his head a slight shake as if to clear it. All right, well, how are you? He asks Peeta. Do you think you can move on? No, he has to rest, I say, and my nose is running like crazy, and I don't even have a shred of fabric to use as a handkerchief. Hey, Liz, how are you? We barely are just a page and a half in, so you're good. Mags rips off a handful of hanging moss from a tree limb and gives it to me, and I'm too much of a mess to even question it. I blow my nose loudly, and I mop the tears off my face. It's nice, the moss, absorbent and surprisingly soft. Yeah, well, I don't think they know, Amanda, but I think they assume. Oh, guinea pig. We didn't even know you had a guinea pig. I don't think the contestants actually know, but I think they're suspicious of the whole thing. You know what I mean? I notice the gleam of gold on Peeta's chest, and I reach out and retrieve the disc that hangs from a chain around his neck. My Mockingjay has been engraved on it. Hey, is this your token? I ask. Yeah, do you mind that I used your Mockingjay? I wanted us to match. He says, no, of course I don't mind. I force a smile, and Peeta showing up in the arena wearing the Mockingjay is both a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, it should give a boost to the rebels in the districts. On the other hand, it's hard to imagine that President Snow will overlook it, and it makes the job of keeping Peeta alive even harder. So, you guys want to make camp here then? Finnick helps. I cannot. My brain is not. You need out, don't you? You want out. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. You can continue your nap on Mommy's shoulder. It's okay. It's okay. You can be out. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You're okay. You're okay. I know you're mad that Mommy doesn't know how to read, but guess what? She's learning. Mommy's learning, right? Yeah. That's right. Okay, let's try that again. So you want to make camp here then? Finnick asks. I don't think that's an option, Peeta answers. Staying here with no water, no protection? I mean, I feel all right, really. If we could just go kind of slowly. All right, slowly would be better than not at all. Finnick helps Peeta to his feet while I pull myself together, and since I got up this morning, I've watched Cinna beaten to a pulp, landed in another arena, and seen Peeta die. Still, I'm glad that Finnick keeps playing the pregnancy card for me, because from a sponsor's point of view, I'm not handling things that well. I check over my weapons, which I know are in perfect condition, because it makes me seem in more control. I'll take the lead, I announce. Peeta starts to object, but Finnick cuts him off. No, let her do it. He frowns at me. You knew the force field was there, didn't you? And right at the last second, you started to give us a warning. I nod. How did you know? I hesitate, to reveal that I know that Beatty and Wyrus' trick of recognizing the force field could be dangerous. I don't know if the game makers made a note of that moment during the training when the two of them pointed out to me or not. One way or another, I have a very valuable piece of information, and if they know that I have it, they might do something to alter the force field so I can't see the aberration anymore. So I lie. No, I don't know. It's almost as if I could hear it. Just listen. And we all become still, and there's the sound of insects, birds, and the breeze in the foliage. I don't hear anything, says Peeta. Yes, I insist. It's like when the fence around District 12 is on, only much, much quieter. And everyone listens again intently, and I do too, although there's nothing to hear. There, I say. Can't you hear it? It's coming from right where Peeta got shocked. I don't hear it either, says Finnick. But if you do, then by all means, take the lead. I decide to play this for all it's worth. It's weird, I say, and I turn my head from side to side as if puzzled. I can only hear it out of my left ear. The one the doctors reconstructed? Asks Peeta. Yeah, I say, and I give it a shrug. Maybe they did a better job than they thought. You know, sometimes I do hear funny things on that side, things that you wouldn't ordinarily think have a sound, like insect wings or snow hitting the ground. Perfect. Now all the attention will turn to the surgeons who fixed my deaf ear after the games last year, and they'll have to explain why I can hear like a bat. You, says Mags, nudging me forward, so I take the lead. And since we're to be moving slowly, Mags prefers to walk with the aid of a branch that Finnick has quickly fashioned into a cane for her. He makes a staff for Peeta as well, which is good, because despite his protestations, I think all Peeta really wants to do is lie down, and Finnick brings up the rear so at least we have someone to alert to our backs. I walk with the force field on my left because that's supposed to be the side with my superhuman ear, but since that's all made up, I cut down a bunch of hard nuts that hang like grapes in a nearby tree, and I toss them ahead of me as I go. It's good that I do, too, because I have a feeling that I'm missing patches that indicate the force field more often than I'm spotting them. Whenever a nut hits the force field, there's a puff of smoke before the nuts land, blackened with a cracked shell on the ground at my feet, and after a few minutes, I become aware of the smacking sound behind me, and I turn to see Mags peeling the shell off one of the nuts and popping it into her already full mouth. Mags, I cry, you spit that out. It could be poisonous. And she mumbles something and ignores me, licking her lips with apparent relish. I look to Finnick for help, but he just laughs. Well, I guess we'll find out, he says, and I go forward, wondering about Finnick, who saved old Mags, but will let her eat strange nuts, who Hamish has been stamped with a seal of approval, who brought Peeta back from the dead. Why didn't he just let him die? He would have been blameless. I never would have guessed it was in his power to even revive him, so why would he possibly have wanted to save Peeta? And why was he so determined to team up with me? Willing to kill me too if it comes to that, but leaving the choice if we fight to me. I keep walking, tossing my nuts, sometimes catching a glimpse of the force field, trying to press to the left to find a spot where we can break through and get away from the cornucopia and hopefully find water. But after another hour or so of this, I realize it's futile. We're not making any progress to the left. In fact, the force field seems to be herding us along the curved path. So I stop, and I look back at Mags's limping form and a sheen of sweat on Peeta's face. Let's take a break, I say. I need another look from above. The tree I chose seems to jut higher into the air than the others, and I make my way up the twisting boughs, staying as close to the trunk as possible, no telling how easily these rubbery branches will snap. And still, I climb beyond good sense because there's something that I have to see. And as I cling to a stretch of trunk no wider than a sapling, swaying back and forth in the humid breeze, my suspicions are confirmed. There's a reason that we can't turn to the left. We will never be able to. From this precarious vantage point, I can see the shape of the whole arena for the first time. It's a perfect circle, with a wheel in the middle. The sky above the circumference of the jungle is tinged with a uniform pink, and I think that I can make out one or two of those wavy squares, the chink in the armor. Wyrus and Beatty called them that, because it reveals what was meant to be hidden, and they are therefore a weakness. I think it's that sound outside that's making my brain fry. Just to be absolutely sure, I shoot an arrow into the empty space above the tree line. There's a spurt of light, a flash of real blue sky, and the arrow is thrown back into the jungle. I climb down to give the others the bad news. The force field has us trapped in a circle. I mean, it's a dome, really. I don't know how high it goes. And then there's the cornucopia and the sea and the jungle all around. It's very exact and it's very symmetrical and, well, not very large, I say. Did you see any water? Asks Finnick. Only the salt water where we started the games, I say. There must be some other source, says Peeta, frowning, or we'll all be dead in a matter of days. Well, the foliage is thick, and there are ponds or springs. Maybe there are ponds or springs somewhere, I say doubtfully, and the instinctive feeling is that the capital might want these unpopular games over as soon as possible. Plutarch Heavenspeed might have already been given orders to knock us off. Well, at any rate, there's no point in trying to find what's over the edge of this hill because the answer is nothing. There must be drinkable water between the force field and the wheel, Peeta insists, and we all know what this means. Heading back down, heading back to the careers and the bloodshed, with Mags hardly able to walk and Peeta too weak to fight. We decide to move down the slope a few hundred yards and continue circling and see if maybe there is some water at that level. I stay in the lead, occasionally chucking a nut or two to my left, but we're well out of range of the force field now. The sun beats down on us, turning the air to steam, playing tricks on our eyes, and by mid-afternoon it's clear that Peeta and Mags cannot go on. Why must they do things like this? It's not even 9 a.m. What if people were sleeping? Finnick chooses a campsite about 10 yards below the force field, saying that we can use it as a weapon by deflecting our enemies into it if we're attacked. And then he and Mags pull blades of sharp grass that grows 5-foot-high tufts and begins to weave them together into mats. Since Mags seems to have no ill effect from the nuts, Peeta collects bunches of them and fries them by bouncing them off the force field. He methodically peels the shells and piles the meats onto the leaf. I stand and guard, fidgeting and hot and raw with the emotions of the day. Thirsty. I am so thirsty. And finally, I can't stand it anymore. Hey, Finnick, why don't you stand guard and I'll hunt around for some more water? I say, and no one's thrilled with the idea of me going off alone, but the threat of dehydration hangs over us. Don't worry, I won't go far, I promise Peeta. I'll go too, he says. No, I'm gonna go do some hunting if I can, I tell him. And I don't add, and I can't have you come because you're too loud. But it's implied. He would both scare off the prey and endanger me with his heavy tread. I won't be long. Yeah, noise ordinances. Yes. Yes. It's true. I move stealthily through the trees, happy to find that the ground lends itself to soundless footsteps. I work my way down at a diagonal, but I find nothing except for more lush green plant life. The sound of the cannons brings me to a halt. The initial bloodbath at the cornucopia must be over. The death toll of the tributes is now available. I count the shots, each representing one dead victor. 8. Not as many as last year, but it seems like more since I know most of their names. Suddenly weak, I lean against a tree to rest, feeling the heat drawing the moisture from my body like a sponge, already swallowing its difficult and fatigue creeping up on me. I try rubbing my hands across my belly, hoping some sympathetic pregnant woman will become my sponsor and Hamish can send me some water, but there's no luck, so I sink to the ground. There's no such thing as too many dresses for a little girl, Victoria. I disagree entirely. In my stillness, I begin to notice the animals, strange birds with brilliant plumage, tree lizards with flickering blue tongues, and something that looks like a cross between a rat and a possum clinging onto the branches close to the tree trunk. I shoot one of the latter out of a tree to get a closer look. It's ugly, all right. A big rodent with a fuzz of mottled gray fur and 2 wicked-looking gnawing teeth protruding over its lower lip. I'm gutting and skinning it, and I notice something else. The muzzle's wet, like an animal that's been drinking from a stream. Excited, I start at its home tree, and I move slowly out in a spiral. It can't be far, the creature's water source, but there's nothing. I find nothing, not so much as a dewdrop, and eventually, because I know Peeta will be worried about me, I head back to the camp hotter and more frustrated than ever. And when I arrive, I see that the others have transformed the place. Mags and Finnick have created a hut of sorts out of grass mats, open on one side but with 3 walls, and there's a floor and a roof. And Mags has also plated several bowls that Peeta has filled with roasted nuts. Their faces turn to me hopefully, but I give my head a shake. No water. It's out there, though. He knew where it was, I say, hoisting the skinned rodent up for all to see. He's been drinking recently when I shot him out of a tree, but I couldn't find his source. I swear, I covered every inch of ground within a 30-yard radius. Can we eat him? Peeta asks. I don't know for sure. but his meat doesn't look that different from a squirrel's. He ought to be cooked. I hesitate as I try to think of starting a fire out here from complete scratch. Even if I succeed, there's the smoke to think about, and we're all so close together in this arena that there's no chance of hiding it. But Peeta has another idea. He takes a cube of rodent meat and skewers on the tip of a pointed stick and lets it fall into the force field. There's a sharp sizzle, and the stick flicks back, and the chunk of meat is blackened on the outside and well cooked on the inside. We give him a round of applause, and then we quickly stop, remembering where we're at. The white sun sinks into the rosy sky as we gather in the hut. I'm still leery about the nuts, but Finnick says Mag recognized them from another games. I didn't bother spending time at the edible plant station in training because it was so effortless for me last year. Now I wish I had. For sure, there would have been some unfamiliar plants surrounding me, and I might have guessed a bit more about where I was headed. Mag seems fine, though, and she's been eating the nuts for hours, so I pick one up and I take a small bite. It's mild, slightly sweet flavor that reminds me of a chestnut, so I decide it's all right. And the rodent's strong and gamey, but surprisingly juicy. It's really not that bad of a meal for our first night in the arena, if only we had something to wash it down with. And Finnick asks a lot of questions about the rodent, which we decide to call the tree rat. How high was it? How long did I watch before I shot it? What was it doing? I don't remember doing much of anything. It was snuffing around for insects or something like that. I'm dreading the night. At least the tightly woven grass offers some protection from whatever slinks across the jungle floor after hours, but a short time before the sun slips below the horizon, a pale white moon rises, making things just visible enough. Our conversation trails off because we know what's coming. We position ourselves in a line at the mouth of the hut, and Peeta slips his hand into mine. The sky brightens when the seal of the capital appears, as if floating in space, and I listen to the strains of the anthem, and I think, it will be harder for Finnick and Mags. But it turns out to be plenty hard for me as well, seeing the faces of the 8 dead victors projected into the sky. The man from District 5, the one that Finnick took out with his trident, is the first to appear. That means that all the tributes 1 through 4 are alive. The 4 careers, Beatty, Wyrus, and of course Mags and Finnick. The man from District 5 is followed by the male morphling from 6, Cecilia and Woof from 8, both from 9, the woman from 10, and Cedar from 11. The capital seal is back, with a final bit of music, and then the sky goes dark except for the moon. No one speaks. I can't pretend I knew any of them that well, but I'm thinking of those 3 kids hanging on to Cecilia when they took her away, of Cedar's kindness to me at our meeting, even though the glazed-eyed morphling painted my cheeks with yellow flowers, and it gives me a pang. All of them are dead. All of them are gone. I don't know how long we must have sat here if it weren't for the arrival of the silver parachute, which glides down through the foliage and lands before us. No one reaches for it. Whose is it, do you think? I finally say. No telling, says Finnick. Why don't we let Peeta claim it since he died today? Peeta unties the cord and flattens out the circle of silk. On the parachute sits a small metal object that I can't place. What is it? I ask, and no one knows. We pass it from hand to hand, taking turns examining it. It's a hollow metal tube tapered slightly at one end, and at the other end there's a small lip that curves downward. It's vaguely familiar, like a part could have fallen off a bicycle or a curtain rod or really anything, really. Peeta blows on one end to see if it makes a sound, and it doesn't. Finnick slides his pinky into it, testing it out as a weapon. Useless. Can you fish with it, Mags? I ask Mags, who really can fish with almost anything, but she shakes her head and grunts. I take it and roll it back and forth on my palm. Since we're allies, Hamish will be working with the District 4 mentors. He had a hand in choosing this gift, and that means it's valuable, life-saving even. I think back to last year when I wanted water so badly, but he wouldn't send it because he knew that I could find it if I tried. Hamish's gifts, or lack thereof, carry weighty messages. I can almost hear him growling at me. Use your brain if you have one. What is it? I wipe the sweat from my eyes and hold the gift out in the moonlight. I move it this way and that, viewing it from different angles, covering proportions, and then revealing them. I'm trying to divulge its purpose to me. Trying to make it divulge its purpose to me, and finally, in frustration, I jam one end of it into the dirt. Well, I give up. Maybe if we hook up with Beatty or Wyrus, they can figure it out. And I stretch out, pressing my hot cheek onto the grass mat, staring at this thing in aggravation. Peeta rubs the tense spot between my shoulders, and I let myself relax just a little. I wonder why this place hasn't cooled off at all now that the sun's gone down, and I wonder what's going on back home. Prim, my mother, Gale, Mage. I think of them watching me from home. At least, I hope they're at home, not taken into custody by Thread. Being punished as Cinna is, as Darius is, punished because of me. Everybody is. I begin to ache for them, for my whole district, for my woods. A decent woods with sturdy hardwood trees, plentiful food, and game that isn't creepy. There are rushing streams, cool breezes, no cold wind to blow out this stifling heat. No, there's cold winds to blow out this stifling heat. And I conjure up a wind in my mind, letting it freeze my cheeks and numb my fingers. And all at once, the piece of metal half buried in the black earth has a name. It's a spile, I say, spitting bolt upright. What? Asks Finnick, and I wrestle the thing from the ground and I brush it clean. I cup my hand around the tapered end and conceal it and look at the lip. Yes, I have. I've seen one of these before on a cold, windy day not long ago when I was out in the woods with my father, inserted snugly into a hole drilled into the side of a maple, a pathway for the sap to follow as it flowed into a bucket. Maple syrup could make even our dull bread a treat, and after my father died, I didn't know what happened to the handle of the spiles he had. Hidden out in the woods somewhere, probably it was, never to be found. It's a spile, I say, sort of like a faucet. You put it into a tree and sap comes out. Look at the sinewy green. I look at the sinewy green trunks around me. Well, the right sort of tree. Sap, says Finnick. They don't have the right kind of trees by the sea either, I assume. To make syrup, says Peeta, there must be something else inside these trees. We're all on our feet at once. We're all on our feet at once. Our thirst, the lack of springs, the tree rat's sharp front teeth and wet muzzle. There can only be one thing worth having in these trees. And Finnick goes to hammer the spile into the green bark of the massive tree with a rock, but I stop him. Wait, you might damage it. We need to drill a hole first, I say. But there's nothing to drill with, so Mags offers her all, and Peeta drives it straight into the bark, burying the spike 2 inches deep. He and Finnick take turn opening the hole with the awl and the knives until they can hold the spile, and I wedge it carefully in, and we stand back in anticipation. At first nothing happens, and then there's a drop of water that rolls down the lip and lands in Mags's palm. She licks it off and holds her hand out for more. By wiggling and adjusting the spile, we get a thin stream running out. We take turns holding our mouths under the tap, wetting our parched tongues. Mags brings over a basket, and the grass is so tightly woven that it does hold water. We fill the basket and pass it around, taking deep gulps and ladder luxuriously, splashing our faces. Everything, just like everything here, the water's on the warm side, but this is no time to be picky. Without our thirst to distract us, we're all aware of how exhausted we really are, and we make preparations for the night. Ooh, hello. Hello. That was a very big pickup of the head. I don't want you to slam back down. Be careful. Yeah. Be careful, sweet girl. Last year, I always tried to have my gear ready in case I had to make a speedy retreat in the night. This year, there's no backpack to prepare, just my weapons, which won't leave my grasp anyway. And then I think of the spile, and I wrest it from the tree trunk, not rest, R-E-S-T, W-R-E-S-T. I strip a tough vine of its leaves and thread it through the hollow center and tie the spile securely to my belt. Finnick offers to take the first watch, and I let him, knowing it has to be one of the 2 of us until Peeta is rested up. I lie down beside Peeta on the floor of the hut, telling Finnick to wake me up when he's tired, and instead I find myself jarred from sleep a few hours later by what seems to be the tolling of a bell. Bong, bong. It's not exactly like the one they ring in the Justice Building on New Year's, but it's close enough for me to recognize. Hi, baby. You okay? I know. Yeah. Peeta and Mags sleep through it, but Finnick has the same look of attentiveness that I feel, and then the tolling stops. I counted 12, he says. What's the matter, sweetheart? What's the matter? What's the matter? Thank you, Jamie. What's the matter? Yeah. I nod. 12. But what does that signify? 1 for each district, maybe, but why? Does that mean anything to you? I ask. No idea, he says. And we wait for further instructions, maybe a message from Claudius Templesmith, an invitation to a feast. The only thing of note appears in the distance. A dazzling bolt of electricity strikes a towering tree, and then a lightning storm begins. And I guess it's an indication of rain, because of a water source for those who don't have mentors as smart as Hamish. Go to sleep, Finnick. It's my turn to watch anyway, I say, and Finnick hesitates, but no one can stay awake forever. He settles down at the mouth of the hut, one hand gripped around the trident, and he drifts off into a restless sleep. Yeah. I sit with my bow loaded and I watch the jungle, which is a ghostly pale and green in the moonlight. What's the matter, sweet girl? What's wrong? What's wrong, baby? What's wrong? What's wrong, honey? What's wrong? Yeah. You're okay. You're okay. Yeah, you are. You're okay. I know. You're restless, huh? Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Do you need a diaper change, maybe? Maybe. We're going to wake up Daddy anyway, so maybe we can do a diaper change. What do you think? Is that what you need? Okay. I'm going to go wake him up and change her diaper. I'll be right back, though. Yeah. Okay. We are dry now, and Daddy is awake. I would say I am. I know people don't think that because of the way that Roll for Slime goes, but like when it's not something that I have to like, you know, do so fast as that, it's pretty good. Okay. I sit with my loaded bow and I watch the jungle, which is ghostly pale and green in the moonlight, and after an hour or so the light stops and I can hear the rain coming in through the patterning leaves a few hundred yards away, and I keep waiting for it to reach us, but it never does. The sound of the cannon startles me, although it makes little impression on my sleeping companions. There's no point in waking them for this. Another victor is dead. I don't even allow myself to wonder who it is. The elusive rain shuts off like the storm did last year in the arena. Moments after it stops, I see the fog sliding softly from the direction of the recent downpour. Just a reaction. cool rain on the steaming ground, I think, and it continues to approach at a steady pace. Tendrils reach forward and then they curl like fingers, as if they are pulling the rest behind them. And I watch and I feel the hairs on my neck begin to rise. Something is wrong with this fog. The progression of the front line is too uniform to be natural, and if it's not natural, a sickeningly sweet odor begins to invade my nostrils, and I reach out for the others, shouting for them to wake up, and in a few seconds that it takes to rouse them, I begin to blister. Yuck. Uh-oh. That's not good. Ooh. All right, we're going to read chapter 21 in a second, but I need a sip of coffee. I need a sip of coffee, sweet girl. Yes, I do. Mommy does. The fog is making her skin blister. No good. Good morning. How are you? All right. Let's keep going now that I am refilled with coffee. Tiny, searing stabs, wherever the droplets touch my skin. Run! I scream to the others. Run! Yeah, exactly. Finnick snaps awake instantly, rising to counter an enemy. Oh, sure. Oh, honey, what's the matter? What's wrong, baby? What's wrong, my sweet angel? You want to hang out with Dad? Oh, she's got her head funny. She's doing that a lot lately. Yeah, I forgot about this too. Finnick snaps awake instantly, rising to counter an enemy, but when he sees the wall of fog, he tosses a still sleeping Mags onto his back and takes off. PETA is on his feet, but he's not as alert. I grab his arm and I begin to propel him through the jungle after Finnick. What is it? What is it? He says in bewilderment. I don't know, it's some kind of fog, a poisonous gas. Hurry, PETA, I urge. And I can tell that however much he's denied it during the day, the after effects of hitting the force field have been significant. He's slow, much slower than usual, and the tangle of vines and undergrowth which unbalance me occasionally trip him at every step. And I look back at the wall of fog extending into a straight line as far as I can see in either direction. A terrible impulse to flee, to abandon PETA, and to save myself shoots through me. It would be so simple to full run and just perhaps even climb a tree above the fog line, which seems to stop at about 40 feet. I remember how I did this when the mutations appeared in the last games. I took off and only thought of PETA when I'd reached the cornucopia, but this time I trap my terror, I push it down, and I stay by his side. This time my survival isn't the goal. PETA's is, and I think of the eyes glued to the television screens in the district, seeing if I will run as the Capitol wishes or if I will hold my ground. Oh yeah, he's got the baby. I lock my fingers tightly into his and I say, watch my feet. Just try to step where I step. And it helps. We seem to move a little faster, but never enough to afford rest. And the mist continues to lap at our heels. Drops spring free from the body of vapor. They burn, but not like fire. Less a sense of heat and more of an intense pain as the chemicals find our flesh, cling to it, and burrow deep down through the layers of our skin. Our jumpsuits are no help at all. We may as well be dressed in tissue paper for all the protection that they give. Finnick, who bounded off initially, stops when he realizes that we're having problems. But this is not a thing that you can fight. You can only evade it. He shouts encouragement, trying to move us along, and the sound of his voice acts as a guide, though little more. PETA's artificial leg catches a knot of creeps, and he sprawls forward before I can catch him. And as I help him up, I become aware of something scarier than the blisters, more debilitating than the burns. The left side of his face has sagged. It's as if every muscle in it has died. The lid droops, almost concealing his eye. His mouth twists into an odd angle towards the ground. PETA? I begin, and that's when I feel the spasms running up my arm. Whatever chemical is lacing the fog does more than burn. It targets our nerves. A whole new kind of fear shoots through me, and I yank PETA forward, which only causes him to stumble again. And by the time I get him to his feet, both of my arms are twitching uncontrollably. The fog has moved in on us. The body of it is less than a yard away. Something is wrong with PETA's legs. He's trying to walk, but then they move in spastic, puppet-like fashion, and I feel him lurch forward, and I realize that Finnick has come back for us and is hauling PETA along. I wedge my shoulder, which seems to be under my control, under PETA's arms, and I do my best to keep up with Finnick's rapid pace. We put about 10 yards between us and the fog when Finnick stops. It's no good. I'll have to carry him. Do you think you can take Mags? He asks me. Yes, I say stoutly, and although my heart sinks, it's true that Mags can't weigh more than about 70 pounds, but I'm still not very big myself. Still, I'm sure I've carried heavier loads than that. If only my arms would stop jumping around. I squat down and she positions herself over my shoulders the way that she rides on Finnick. I slowly straighten my legs and then my knees lock and I can manage her. Finnick has Peeta slung across his back now as we move forward. Finnick is leading and me following the trail as it breaks through the vines. On the fog comes a silent and steady and On comes the fog, silent, steady, and flat, except for the great grasping tendrils, and although my instinct is to run directly away from it, I realize that Finnick is moving at a diagonal downward the hill. He's trying to keep a distance from the gas while steering us towards the water that surrounds the cornucopia. Wait, yes, it's water. I think that the acid droplets bore deeper into me, and now I'm so thankful that I didn't kill Finnick because somehow I would have had to get Peeta out of here alive. No, I'm so thankful to have someone else on my side, even if it's only temporary. It's not Mags's fault when I begin failing. She's doing everything she can to be an easy passenger, but the fact is there's only so much weight that I can handle, especially now that my right leg seems to be going stiff. The first 2 times that I crashed to the ground, I managed to make it back onto my feet, but the 3rd time, I cannot get my leg to cooperate. And as I struggle to get up, it gives out, and Mags rolls off onto the ground before me, and I flail around, trying to use vines and trunks to right myself. Finnick's back by my side, and Peeta's hanging over him. It's no use, I say. Can you take them both? Go on ahead. I'll catch up. A somewhat doubtful proposal, but I say it with as much surety as I can muster. I can see Finnick's eyes, green in the moonlight, and I can see them as clear as day. They're almost like a cat's, with a strange reflective quality. Maybe it's because they're shiny with tears. No, he says. I can't carry both of them. My arms aren't working. And it's true. His arms jerk uncontrollably at his side, and his hands are empty. Of his 3 tridents, only 1 remains, and it's in Peeta's hands. I'm sorry, Mags. I can't do it. What happens next is so fast, so senseless, I can't even move to stop it. Mags hauls herself up. She plants a kiss on Finnick's lips, and then she hobbles straight into the fog. Immediately, her body is seized by wild contortions, and she falls to the ground in a horrible dance. I want to scream, but my throat is on fire. I take 1 futile step in her direction when I hear the cannon's blast, and I know that her heart is stopped, and she's gone. Finnick? I call out hoarsely, but he's already turned from the scene, already continued to retreat from the fog. Dragging my useless leg behind me, I stagger after him, having no idea what else to do. Time and space lose meaning as the fog seems to invade my brain, muddling through my thoughts, making everything unreal, and somewhere deeply rooted in the animal desire for survival, it keeps me stumbling after Finnick and Peeta, continuing to move, although I'm probably dead already. Parts of me are dead, or clearly dying, and Mags is dead. This is something I know, or maybe I think I know, because it makes no sense at all. Moonlight is glinting off of Finnick's bronze hair, beads of searing pain peppering me. A leg has turned to wood. I follow Finnick until he collapses on the ground, and Peeta is still on top of him. I seem to have no ability to stop myself on my own forward motion, and I simply propel myself onward until I trip over their prone bodies. Just 1 more onto this heap. This is where, how, and when we all die, I think. But then the thought is abstract and far less alarming than the current agonies of my body. I hear Finnick groan, and I manage to drag myself off of the others, and now all I can see is the wall of fog, which has taken on a pearly white quality. Maybe it's my eyes playing tricks on me, or maybe it's the moonlight, but the fog seems to be transforming. Yes, it's becoming thicker. It's as if it's pressed up against a glass window and it's being forced to condense. And I squint harder, and I realize that the fingers no longer protrude from it. In fact, it's stopped moving forward entirely. Like the other horrors that I've witnessed in this arena, it's reached its end of terror. Either that, or maybe the game makers have decided not to kill us just yet. It stopped, I try to say, but only an awful croak comes out of my swollen mouth. It stopped, I say again, but this time it must be clearer, because both Peeta and Finnick turn their heads to the fog, and I begin to rise upward now, as if it begins to rise upward now, as if slowly vacuumed into the sky. We watch until it's been sucked away, and not the slightest wisp of it remains. Peeta rolls off Finnick, who turns over onto his back, and we lie there, gasping, twitching, our minds and bodies invaded by the poison. And after a few minutes pass, Peeta vaguely gestures upwards. Monkeys! I look up, and I spot a pair of what I guess are monkeys. I've never seen a live monkey before, but there's nothing like that in our woods at home. But I must have seen a picture or maybe saw one in the games, because when I see the creatures, the same word comes to my mind. And I think that these have orange fur, although it is hard to tell, and they're about half the size of a full-grown human, and I take the monkeys for a good sign. Surely they wouldn't hang out if the air was deadly. For a while, we quietly observe one another, the humans and the monkeys, and then PETA struggles to his knees and he crawls down the slope. And we all crawl, since walking now seems like a remarkable feat, as much as flying would be. And we crawl until the vines turn to a narrow strip of sandy beach, and the warm water around us surrounds the cornucopia, and it laps at our face, and I jerk backwards as if we've touched an open flame, rubbing salt into a wound. For the first time, I truly appreciate that expression, because the salt water makes the pain of my wounds so blinding that I nearly black out. But there's another sensation of drawing out. I experiment by gingerly placing my hand into the water. It's torturous, yes, but then less so. And then, through the blue layer of water, I see a milky substance leaching out of the wound on my skin, and as the whiteness diminishes, so does the pain. I unbuckle my belt and I strip off the jumpsuit, which is little more than a perforated rag at this point. My shoes, the undergarments, they're inexplicably unaffected. Little by little, one small portion of a limb at a time, I soak the poison out of my wounds. PETA seems to be doing the same, but Finnick backed away from the water at first touch, and he's lying face down in the sand, either unwilling or unable to purge himself. Finally, when I've survived the worst, opening my eyes underwater, sniffing water into my sinuses and snorting it back out, and even gargling repeatedly to wash out my throat, I'm finally functional enough to help Finnick. Some feeling has returned to my leg, but my arms are still ridden with spasms. I can't drag Finnick into the water, and possibly the pain would kill him anyway, so I scoop up a shaky handful and I empty them into his fists. Since he's not underwater, the poison comes out of his wounds just as it went in wisps of fog that I take great care to steer clear of, and PETA recovers enough to help me. He cuts away Finnick's jumpsuit, and somewhere I find 2 shells that work much better than our hands do, and we concentrate on soaking Finnick's arms first, since they've been so badly damaged, and even though a lot of white stuff pours out of them, he doesn't notice it. He just lies there, eyes shut, giving an occasional moan. And I look around, growing with awareness of how dangerous the poison is that we were in. It's night, yes, but this moon gives off too much light for concealment. We're lucky no one's attacked us yet. We could see them coming from the cornucopia, but if all 4 careers attacked, they would surely overpower us. If they didn't spot us first, Finnick's moans would give us away soon. We've got to get more water into him, I whisper, but we can't put him face first into it, not while he's in this condition. PETA nods to Finnick's feet, and we each take one, pulling him 180 degrees around, and we start to drag him into the salt water, just a few inches at a time. First his ankles, and then we wait a few minutes, up to his mid-calf, wait, his knees. Clouds of white swirl out from his flesh, and he groans, and we continue to detoxify him bit by bit. And what I find is that the longer that I sit in the water, the better I feel. Not just my skin, but my brain. My muscle control seems to improve, and I can see that PETA's face is beginning to return to normal too. The eyelid opening, the grimace leaving his mouth. Finnick slowly begins to revive. His eyes are open, and he focuses on us, and he registers his awareness that he's being helped. I rest his head in my lap, and we let him soak about 10 more minutes with everything immersed from the neck down. PETA and I exchange a smile as Finnick lifts his arms above the seawater. There's just your head left, Finnick. That's the worst part, but you'll feel much better if you can do it, if you can bear it, says PETA. And we help him sit up, and we let him grip our hands as he purges his eyes, his nose, and his mouth. His throat is still too raw to speak. I'm gonna try to tap a tree, I say, and my fingers fumble at my belt and find the spile still hanging from the vine. Let me make a hole first, says PETA. You stay with him. You're the healer. That's a joke, I think, but I don't see it out loud since Finnick...
Sorry.
That's okay. Finnick has enough to deal with. He's got the worst of the fog, although I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because he's the biggest, or maybe he had to exert himself the most. And then, of course, there's Mags, and I still don't understand what happened there. Why he essentially abandoned her to carry PETA. Why she's not only did she not question it, but she ran straight to her death without a moment's hesitation. Was it because she was so old that her days were numbered anyway? Did she think that Finnick would stand a better chance of winning if he had PETA and me as allies? That haggard look on Finnick's face tells me that now is not the moment to ask. I try instead to pull myself back together, and I rescue my Mockingjay pin from my ruined jumpsuit, and I pin it to the strap of my undershirt. The flotation belt must be The flotation belt must be an acid restraint since it looks as good as new. I can swim, so the flotation belt's not really necessary, but Brutus blocked my arrow with his, so I buckle it back on, and I think it must be used as some sort of protection. I undo my hair, and I comb it with my fingers, thinning it out considerably since the fog droplets have damaged it, and then I braid it back to what is left. All right, the chapter is not over, but as I said, we do have to take baby girl to a doctor's appointment today. So we're gonna call that chapter at the halfway point today, and we will finish it and the other one tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get on a Slime Live later, but we'll see what happens. And as you all know, we have Roll for Slime tomorrow afternoon, so I will see you all for that. And yes, it's just a regular checkup at the doctor. It's her 3-month appointment. So yes, I will report back on how much she has grown, and I hope to see you all at Slime Live later. Bye, guys.